Welcome home and welcome back. You know, I'm not one to promote something because it's always better if you're being paid for the advertisement, but in this case, I will make an exception. These sour candies are the best. If you want to have the sourest puckered lips you've ever had, then these are the ones you should get. And they're a berry type flavor, and they're by Jolly. So on that note, whoa. Getting back to story time. Oop. Wow, a little sour. What we're going to look at next is more of the Enneagram. This will be a short video, but hopefully as insightful as it was to reread it again. How was the Enneagram developed? Here's some history. The Enneagram as a symbol was first brought to the attention of the modern world by the Greek Armenians, spiritual teachers of the modern world by the Greek Armenians. Spiritual teacher George, and I hope I get this pronunciation right, Ivanovich Gurdjieff. That was probably not the way you would pronounce it. The symbol was developed by Oscar Ichazo, the founder of the Erica School of Self-Realization in the 1950s and 60s. Now that is where I want you to focus your attention. The 1950s and the 1960s. If you are interested in history, which I am to some degree, think back to what the system was like and what it was in place for that system back in the 1950s and 1960s. I'll give you a moment there. Anyways, in developing the basic principles of the Enneagram theory, Ichazo drew on classic Greek philosophy and ancient spiritual ideas from mystical Judaism and early Christianity. Ichazo, taught a number of students the basics of his theories of the Enneagram in Arica, Chile, in 1970. And some of them notably consulted psychiatrist Claudio Naranjo, brought the Enneagram to the United States soon thereafter. So it was recognized in the 1950s, 1960s, and it was brought to the Americas in the 1970s. Now think about that, in the 1970s, what was that? That was a bit of a spiritual awakening as well, with flower power and of course all of the drugs that are now in circulation around the world. But not to harp on the obvious. Within a few years, awareness of this powerful technology had quickly spread around North America. That's a big continent. In 1973, Don Rizzo began developing the Enneagram in the light of modern psychology, adding his own insights and discoveries to the original body of knowledge. He was joined by Russ Hudson in 1988. And both have been writing and teaching about the system ever since. Now, I don't know if they're still alive today. They may still be, but who knows, right? It is a cool western wind there. Anyways, one central aspect of our work with the Enneagram has been to the endeavor to bring our findings into alignment with modern psychological research. In understanding the Enneagram, he saw that the Enneagram adds cohesion and significant insights to the theories of modern psychology with its specificity. Okay, okay, there's specifically, and then there's specificity. We'll just say special. Okay. Specificity. Wow, they really do need to. Okay, specificity. Specificity. It's not specificity or specific. Anyways, comprehensiveness and elegance. It organizes observations about human nature by consolidating what has already been discovered, as well as by suggesting new avenues of investigation, by clevering the diamond, or cleaving, that must be a saying about a diamond. Maybe it's when it's being cut. Cleaving the diamond of the psyche along its powerful internal lines. That's what it means. The Enneagram presents us with the categories that we actually find in everyday life. What is particularly intriguing is that this system, based on ancient philosophical ideas and empirical observations. Empirical observations anticipates many of the findings of the diagnostics and the statistical manual of mental disorders. 4th edition, the DSM-4, Roman numerals, of the American Psychiatric Association and other typologies. What creates our Enneagram type? One of the primary things to understand about the Enneagram is that we find ourselves reflected in the whole of it. From one point of view, the personality types are metaphors for the various psychological functions operating in each of us. See Chapter 7 of More on the Functionings. We develop into one of the 9 personality types because our consciousness has developed in certain ways as a result of our hereditary and childhood experiences. Nevertheless, our personality type is largely inborn and is the result of a mother, results of what the psychologists call temperament. Okay, let's just go back there. Nevertheless, our personality type is largely inborn and is the result of what psychologists call temperament. Any woman who has been a mother is aware that children are quite distinct from one another, even when they are still in the womb. The child then uses the strengths of his or her temperament as a primary way to cope with stresses in his or her environment. But in the process of adapting, a variety of unconscious mechanisms and structures come into play that help the child feel safe, but that also limit his or her sense of identity. Interesting. In a sense of development of the personality, is as much a defense against our earlier environment as it is an adaptive reaction to it. The remaining 8 personality types, which we developed to greater or lesser degrees throughout our lives, represents the other potentials of our psyche and are important parts of who we are. Wow, that's a lot to absorb. So let's just end it there and talk about, in the next video, how the Enneagram helps us grow. I'm Dominic Raphael, this is Up in Canada, and this is the Enneagram book review. 9 personality types, 9 subtypes, and 9 times 9 times 9 subtypes from that. So until tomorrow, or in a couple of days, depends how busy we are. We'll see you then. Cheers.